Citations, Legion of Doom, welcome to Podcast The Storm, we're socially awkward outcasts, crazy weirdos, and all around nerds convene, talk, and debate all things pop culture. With me, as always, is my co-host, the nerdy occultist, aka the Authenticator, Dalton L. Mortimer.
Hello and good evening, everyone.
And I'm your
September
host.
is slowly drawing to a close, thankfully, which means that things are about to get very fun again. Yay.
And I'm your host, / Time Lord Wannabe, the brainstorm of pop culture. How's everyone doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. It's been a heck of a hectic week, but I'm doing okay.
So, full honesty, just kind of this is going to be a trailer week. So this might be a pretty short podcast, all things considered.
Mm-hmm. Just because the only thing that really of substance happened in the course of the week was trailers. That and Agatha All Along came out, and so far I think it's flawed, but it has promise, and I'm curious to see where they'll go with it. Although we won't be talking about it until it wraps, and its last episode is actually on Halloween, so we'll be pushing that into the first week in November, probably. Anyway, on with the trailers.
You give me 1 sec. Okay. So the first trailer is going to be Megalopolis, which is from Francis Ford Coppola. So I'm going to be honest, I don't think I've really seen any of his films.
Have you seen Bram Stoker's Dracula? That was his.
I saw when I was really young, so I don't remember much of it, to be fair. What else did he do?
Trying to think. I think Godfather might have been his, but I could be wrong. Because I always get Francis Ford Coppola and Martin Scorsese mixed up.
I don't think Martin Scorsese did Godfather.
No, he did Goodfellas.
Right.
That's why I was saying. Trying to. But my point is, their filmographies are really similar, so I often get them mixed up because they both have done like mob movies and stuff.
Okay, so yeah, he's done The Godfather, he's done Bram Stoker's Dracula, Apocalypse Now, Outsiders, Conversation, Rumblefish, Lost in Translation, Jack. Oh, I've seen that one.
The Robin Williams one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, that was his? I didn't realize he was involved in that horror franchise.
I might have produced it, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember hearing about like how the director of Jeepers Creepers, like the creator of it, was like real creep.
Hmm.
Let's see. I also worked on a THX 1138, which, if I remember correctly, was oh yes, did Mary Shelley's Frankenstein in 1994.
Oh, the TV movie. Cool.
Mm.
Which honestly is a really good adaptation of the novel. Because
Okay.
the annoying thing about Frankenstein as a, pop cultural fixture is almost nobody actually bases it on the book as written. They all basically just pilfer from the 1940s movie, the Universal one.
Which is
But
a good, which, okay, just so we're clear,
well,
is a good.
it's good. It's just it bears very little, if any, resemblance to the actual story of the novel.
Okay. What do you think? Bottom or the side works better?
Probably the side.
Okay. But yeah, this is Megalopolis trailer. Um, I'd seen the trailer actually when I went to go see The Crow.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting, a bit weird, but then it's Francis Ford Coppola.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is. Um, but yeah, I haven't really watched it since. So
Mm.
I got nothing against the. He's old guard. I will say that Francis Ford Coppola is like one of the old guard. Obviously. Um, although
I
I
know
haven't
Martin
heard.
Scorsese has said bad things about genre content. I don't remember if Francis Ford Coppola has or not. But like I
I'm
say,
not.
they seem to be frequently kind of cut from the same cloth. It probably has
Well,
something to do with the fact that
hold
they've
on,
been friends for 50 years plus.
hold on. He and George Lucas are also pretty close because he was a producer on a lot of George Lucas's movies.
Mm.
So, and given this how this trailer is, from what I remember of it,
Yeah.
so banana.
Yeah, but
One filmmaker has always been ahead of his time.
is that Lawrence Fishburne's voice I'm hearing?
Yes.
Cool. Lawrence Fishburne is always a win.
Yeah. Has he, like Francis Ford Coppola, has he technically been ahead of his time?
I mean, I think a more accurate summation would be he was of his time. He set a lot of trends back in like the 60s and 70s and maybe even into the 80s, but much like Martin Scorsese, he's been kind of on an art house kick for a while now. Again, I don't know if he's ever said anything negative about genre. It's possible he didn't, but then again, I would have said the same thing about Steven Spielberg, and Steven Spielberg still dumps on genre content that isn't his. So, like, I don't know. You would think there would be some self awareness in people like Steven Spielberg's head to point out that he made his name on sci-fi and fantasy genre movies, but apparently not. It's the special pleading thing of my genre good, your genre bad because reasons derp. Anyway, banana.
Mm-hmm.
Go. Now, from visionary writer and director Francis Ford Coppola, comes an event nothing can prepare you for.
Imagine today's society as a branch of civilization.
It looks interesting.
Yeah, and again, getting getting that voiceover to do that is very good. It's like
Hey, give me one
Is
second.
Lo-
I gotta get a drink.
Mhm. I mean, Lawrence Fishburne is very good at setting the mood. The only people who might be better at it are people like Morgan Freeman and the late great James Earl Jones. But Lawrence Fishburne is definitely in kind of the same ballpark of person with one of the most awesome voices in cinema category. I would still say that Morgan Freeman is at the top of that particular hierarchy, but Lawrence Fishburne ain't far behind, especially since James Earl Jones is now resting in peace. Never thought I would see the day, actually. For some reason, I assumed that people like that would outlive me. Probably shouldn't have, considering, I was born in 95 and they were already in their, 50s and 60s by then, but still.
Right. Shall we?
Banana.
Banana.
About to reach a dead end. Is this way we're living the only one that's available to us? My plan is a city that people can dream about.
Megalopolis.
What about those standing in your way? You like it the way
Why?
it is.
Why do I get the feeling that this is kind of Francis Ford Coppola's answer to something like Love, Death, and Robots, or Black Mirror, or Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities? That's the vibe I'm getting here.
It's fantastical. I'll give you that. And yeah, that I can see where you're coming from, but it is one whole story.
Okay, so it's not an anthology. Based on the description of different types of societies and is this way of living the only one available to us, I was kind of expecting something similar to like Love, Death, and Robots or Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, but with a Francis Ford Coppola spin. But okay, that's it. That's interesting. Banana.
Banana.
People don't need dreams. People need help now. Don't let the now destroy the forever. We're in need of a great debate about the future. Enjoy the show.
Oddly enough, this does feel like it has something to say. Obviously, it's not hiding that at all.
Yeah, if
But-
anything, I would say it's honestly being a little bit heavy-handed. But
No, I would.
I don't.
See, that's where
I
I
don't
think
hate
you and I
it.
are. Sorry.
I said I think it's a little bit heavy-handed. That's not to say I dislike it or anything. It's just
No, it doesn't feel like it's. The weird thing is, it doesn't feel like it's like. It's asking the questions more so than giving answers, right? Like it's not trying to tell you.
At least that's how the
the
trailer is making it
Yeah.
look. I don't know if the movie's actually going to, or is it a show? I don't know if the project
It's a
is going
movie.
to actually.
It's a movie.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if the movie's actually going to stay walking that tightrope of asking the questions without force feeding answers and being myopically obsessed with the answers that he likes or whatever. But I hope so. Anyway, I've got to let the cat in again because he decided he wants in again. Oh my god.
I will also say it feels very like epic. Like in a scale I haven't really seen in like a while in terms of movies. Still haven't read anything, Giant Turtle. Also, hello, good to see you. I'm doing pretty well. Yeah. And honestly, you haven't missed much, to be fair. We were just doing trailers this week, and
Yep.
Megalop. But yeah, I wanted to mention, like, I mentioned this before while you were still gone. Yeah, it feels very epic, like in a way I haven't really seen movies be in a while.
Like, this is the kind of movie that almost should have one of those cliche in a world intros. And I guess this is kind of Lawrence Fishburne's answer to the in a world intro, kind of.
Yeah. But it's very fantastic. Honestly, this feels like a movie that should have come out in the early 2000s, with like Lord of the Rings and stuff, right?
I would have said like late 90s. I could see
I
this.
would say okay, late 90s, early 2000s.
Like,
Like,
I
it feels
could.
similar to Dark City, right?
I was gonna lean more in the direction of Fifth Element, because like I could totally see this movie coming out around the same time Fifth Element did, and kind of being like, honestly, I really hate the movie The Fifth Element. So if anything, I think this is gonna wind up being the better version of Fifth Element for me.
I feel like you pissed off a lot of people with that comment.
I know it's heresy, but honestly, as far as Luc Besson based sci-fi movies go, Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets is much fucking better than Fifth Element ever was.
Yeah, it's a shame that thing did not get as much.
Yeah, that should have made all of the money, and it did not, which is a shame.
Yeah. Anyway, shall we?
Banana.
1, 2, 3. Yippee yay.
There's still so much.
It's a very star-studded cast.
Well, I mean, Francis Ford Coppola is one of the Mac Daddy of directors ever. I mean, he's the guy who did the goddamn Godfather. I'm pretty sure his Rolodex has more fame and prestige in it than the whole rest of the world. And
I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care. I'm not like full honesty, I don't really care for the Godfather series.
And while we're committing cinematic heresy here, Goodfellas is, in my opinion, better than Godfather. I'm not saying Godfather is bad or anything. I'm just saying it is very, very long, very, very boring, and very, very overrated. Now, I understand why it became as famous as it did, because it broke so many molds that had previously existed and basically put everyone in the motherfucking thing on the map.
Right.
And most people my age and Brainstormer's age mostly remember who Marlon Brando was because of his role as Vito Corleone. So not saying that Godfather was bad or anything.
No.
In terms of mafia movie based enjoyment factor, I would rather watch Goodfellas over and over and over again than watch Godfather even once all the way through, frankly.
To be honest, given that I'm Gen Z, as much as I hate to say that, to me, I kind of feel like The Gentleman from Guy Ritchie a few years back is kind of my Godfather.
I can see the parallel there. I can totally see the parallel there.
I think it's just 'cause, it's got a lot more. Okay, again, nothing against the Godfather movies. They're fine, and I honestly do see that. I like them. I get the appeal of them. And I enjoy the just masterful work that is done with it. Right. Hold on, Don.
Sorry. Go ahead.
However, when I'm watching The Gentleman, it's just got a lot more. Okay, how to best say this? The Godfather is very sophisticated, very elegant, very what's a word for like fun? Yeah, okay, yeah, it's very elegant, very very well made, right? But like Dalton said, it's kind of boring. It lacks a certain creativity that I'm used to watching with like a lot of movies that have come out in the last.
There's a lot of there.
Okay, hold on, but The Gentleman, it's got more personality, more creativity, and it's just overall more fun, I guess, is the best way I could put it.
Yeah, okay. I guess the best way to put it is something that Godfather is in some sense guilty of the same thing that a lot of Christopher Nolan movies are guilty of, which is that they're so consumed with being like cinematic and technical tour de forces that they forgot to remember, oh wait, people actually have to watch this and at least try to derive enjoyment out of it. And I'm not saying that Francis Ford Coppola is even remotely as guilty of this in this regard as Christopher Nolan is, because Christopher Nolan's biggest problem, and why I fucking hate that dude, is that he only knows how to make movies on a technical level. He does not know a damn thing about how to give movies a soul or a fun factor or a watchability by himself. If there is watchability to a Christopher Nolan movie, it's because of the work that everyone else is putting in, not because of what Christopher Nolan did. And The Godfather is kind of the same way. It is a very technically immaculate, very cinematically impressive movie, but it is dull as shit, and no enjoyment can meaningfully be had about it because there is no fun factor. That's not something I think is Francis Ford Coppola's fault, because he has made fun movies or been involved with fun movies before. I still think his version of Bram Stoker's Dracula is probably the definitive adaptation of the novel of Bram Stoker. And I absolutely adore the way that he kind of melded the actual historical Dracula with the Dracula from, the book. Which, to be fair, the book kind of got that ball rolling, but it didn't quite make it as explicit as the movie does. And I think it was a smart choice to make Dracula of Bram Stoker's Dracula the historical Vlad Dracula Tepish. And so Francis Ford Coppola can easily make fun movies. The Godfather just is not one of them. And that's why, when it comes to mafia movies, I would much rather watch Goodfellas than I ever would The Godfather, because Goodfellas is frankly fun from minute one, and it doesn't stop being fun until the very last credits have rolled. Were you trying to say something, Brainstormer? Your mic did a weird fritzing thing there.
No, I was just clearing my throat.
Okay, because yeah, your mic went robo there. Anyway, yeah, that's my opinion of Francis Ford Coppola and of The Godfather, which again I realize is cinematic heresy, but I
Like,
don't think anyone would just.
I mean, if we're going off the scenes where Peter tells his family he didn't like The Godfather, people will. Honestly, I imagine that's how the conversation would go if we were talking to anyone else here.
Yeah. But in any case, back to Megalopolis. Banana.
To accomplish, but is there time? Go.
Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis.
September
This does.
Says
When does it come out?
tickets on sale now. My mom plus the Ultimate Live Experience. One night only. September 23rd.
Wait, one night only? Holy shit.
What?
The idea of it being like one night only is a bit weird. Especially because this looks like a blockbuster, so I can't imagine it was very cheap. Then again, I guess when you're as like woven into the sheer fabric of cinema as Francis Ford Coppola is, studios don't mind blowing hundreds of millions of dollars on his passion projects. Kind of similar to what happened with the recent Martin Scorsese movies. Although based on the trailer, I will say that I think I will enjoy Megalopolis much more than I ever have enjoyed any of Martin Scorsese's recent offerings, because they have been pretentious Oscar bait flock that had no soul. Which is weird, because Martin Scorsese made Goodfellas, and that's fun from minute one. So maybe Martin is losing, and Francis Ford Coppola has gained, I guess.
Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Also, Dragon Turtle, is Brainstormer's mic doing really weird fritz things with you? Because I'm hearing his mic fritz and reverb a lot, and I don't know what the deal is there.
How about now?
Now you're still doing it.
I don't know what. I'm not doing anything.
It honestly sounds like your mic is kind of reverbing against itself, if that makes sense.
I don't know what you want me to do with it, because I don't know what is going on there.
I don't know if it would solve it if you disconnected and reconnected. I'm trying to think. Because that would be my first instinct, because usually that is the first thing to try, but then again, I also don't want your internet to start being shitty, so fuck.
Yes, but that's a deal. Because
We'll just have to grin and bear it, I guess.
Can you still understand me?
Yeah, it's just you're sounding like you're sounding like one of those text to speak machines from like the early 2000s. And echoing against yourself a lot. Anyway, moving to the next one. What's weird is it's not affecting the audio of the trailer, which is really freaking weird.
No, that's because I have it sharing. It's not coming through my own mic.
Okay, that's probably why. Okay. Anyway, moving to the next one.
Venom Last Dance final trailer. So we've been again. Venom probably would have worked best if it's not in the 2000s. Obviously, early 2000s.
Yeah, I've been saying since even the first one came out. A lot of people had positive opinions of the first one, and I guess if you're nostalgic for that kind of early 2000s or late 90s vibe, this would, I guess Venom is closer to the good aspect of that era than the other Sony Spider-Verse movies in live action have been. But still, and I've been saying this since the first one came out, it is an unnecessary throwback to an era where the comic book genre wasn't even fully established yet. And I think I can reasonably say that that point is evidenced by the fact that Venom is the only one that's been successful in this vein, and that's largely because, and I've spoken to people who like the Venom movies about this, the reason why Venom works and Morbius, Madam Web, and eventually Kraven didn't/won't is that Tom Hardy's performance is so good that he kind of makes up for some of the stupid decisions they make. And even then, I think Venom 2 managed to make like half of what the first one did. So it'll be interesting to see if the like diminishing returns continues as people kind of come to terms with the fact that the Sony live action Spider-Verse sucks. Or if it will kind of bounce back because Venom 2 was released during, well, or at least adjacent to COVID time. But anyway, Banana.
This is your captain speaking. If you look out to your left, you'll see a beautiful view of the Grand Canyon.
Told you we could fly! Oh, the sun grows
And I'm gonna say it's nice.
Yep. Banana.
Crush! Where it takes shape! You're not going to like this.
No, I can absolutely guarantee you I'm gonna.
My home.
I have heard that Null is supposed to be the villain in this movie, and I'm interested to see how that goes, because during the time period where movies like Venom were more common, they fell victim to the disease of the space cloud, like Galactus in Rise of the Silver Surfer, space cloud, Parallax in Green Lantern, space cloud, and so on and so on and so forth.
They have no idea. I'm mainly just saying just one thing. If Venom the movie came out, no wouldn't be a thing.
Wait,
Back in the 2000s.
Nola was that recent of an addition?
Late 2010s.
I thought he was older than that. My bad, I guess.
It's not really your thing, to be fair. So.
Right, but like he
Well,
is
actually,
at least. Go ahead.
Really enough. Is the sword all black that Gore Butcher uses?
The Necro Sword.
No, it's not. No, it's almost. I'm fairly sure it was like black.
What? Say that last part again, Brainstormer. Your point must have gotten lost in the reverb.
Fairly sure the sword is all black. Just hold on, I'm looking it up.
Yeah, it's called the Necro Sword. The one that
Hold
Gore
on,
the God Butcher
I'm
uses.
looking it up so we can. Now that I'm this remembering and thinking of something else. Just for clarity's sake. Yeah, all black, the Necro Sword. Okay, so we both remember it.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, it's referenced that it's all black Necro Sword. It is a symbiotic sword that
Yeah.
works to give the head of a slain celestial Which now I wish they had incorporated that in fucking God, Love and Thunder. That's so much fucking better. So many ways.
There were so many better ideas they could have gone with, and they went with none of them because Taika Waititi was left too much to his own devices.
Obviously, he could create some really cool stuff on his own. But
that's the thing. His problem is that he doesn't give a shit about the actual meaning of the IP or the worth of the IP. He thinks it's silly and stupid, so he made Love and Thunder an overt comedy. He probably would have made Ragnarok also an overt comedy if someone who gave two shits about the IP hadn't stepped in and fixed a lot of his mistakes, or at least prevented some of the bad, cringy jokes from making it into the final product. It's the same thing that kind of happened with Patty Jenkins in Wonder Woman 2. Everyone assumed that she was the secret ingredient of making Wonder Woman work, so they kicked everyone else who helped her make the first one off of it, and then gave her free license to do whatever she wanted, and predictably it sank like a stone, as it always does when you get these auteur egotists too much freedom.
yeah, you're right. Actually did have an idea for a rewrite of Love and Thunder.
I know we came up with some pretty decent ideas when we reacted to the first trailer.
I remember that was there. It's been a couple of years now.
I will have to find that video for you again, because we did come up with some really interesting ideas.
But the general idea
I
I
still-
had come up with recently, because I was thinking about actually writing it down, was for leading teams, because there is a team in Marvel Comics called the God Killers.
I don't know about that. Multiple villains tend to always backfire.
Because people in Lawrence don't actually understand that word.
Right. I'm just saying I'm skeptical of any plot point that leads to multiple villains usually, unless one villain is working for the other or something, like with Caecilius and Dormammu in the first Doctor Strange, or Parallax.
So can I tell an idea before you shut it down? I'm not trying to be a dick, man. I'm just saying before you dismiss it, can I pitch it first?
Sorry. It's hard to tell when you pause because of the echo. Sorry.
Okay, so God Killers played by Gore. All of it is burned by the gods. Or, to be fair, it was looking at various Thor villains that never got a chance to be seen in the movies.
Out of curiosity, who?
Hold on, I wrote it down somewhere. Give me a second to find the list. I don't know where to put that notebook. I read a lot of shit. Alright. Oh, did I put you, motherfucker? No, that's not it. Okay, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head because I don't want to get up yet. I'm trying to search it in my room. I put Beta Ray Bill in just to introduce him, and he actually was a member of that team in the comics.
Interesting. I assume you're gonna put Mangog on here too.
I believe, I did put him on there. And he was like, if I remember correctly, that character was like the rage of a god made flesh, like a dead god.
Yeah. It's It's kind of honestly Thor's equivalent to like Parallax almost, or I guess Atrocitus would be a better example.
I think I wasn't sure. I was trying to look this one up, but there isn't much information. I was going to put Samara on there as well. For those who don't know, in Norse mythology, Samara is the wife of Surtur / kind of the southern half of the mythology. And just tie reference to Ragnarok, Surtur.
Well, it would also be interesting for Surtur to come back as well, because his whole thing was, I want to destroy Asgard. Also, hi Melina.
Linda.
God damn it, I did it again.
Yes,
Sorry.
it is.
I don't know. I don't know why your brain gets freaking.
Your name, not brain.
Yeah, I don't know why your name gets so dyslexified in my brain. Oh, God.
Wait, do you have dyslexia?
No, that's why it's annoying. Because I know I don't have it, and yet for some reason, when my brain sees her name, it refuses to translate correctly. For whatever reason.
Okay, give me 1 second. I know I wrote it down.
Oh, I feel so bad. Because she subscribed to us and everything the other day, and it was good, but like, oh, I feel so bad for getting your name messed up. Oh, shit. My brain keeps doing that, and I will get it eventually. I will get it eventually, goddammit. But apart from my own neurons playing a game of 3-card Monty with my ability to recognize people's names, what else is new? Neurons committing a freaking mutiny and shite.
Okay, I have no idea where I put that list, so.
The good news is whatever you did when you stepped away seems to have fixed the audio issue, or at least somewhat did.
Okay, shall we?
Yep, banana.
Or we could do brains, because Venom loves to eat those.
I mean, I was almost thinking of going symbiotic banana, but eh.
I don't want to know what that is.
You know what a symbiote is. So I was just postulating the existence of such a thing as a symbiotic banana.
Don't. Please don't. Don't ever put that out in the universe.
And now I'm hearing it in my own head for a second, and I'm realizing it might be a dick joke. Never mind. Accidental dick jokes aside, banana.
Banana.
Who sent that thing?
My creator.
Of course.
The symbiotes didn't come here by accident. They were running.
From what?
Oh, they're clearly not going the space cloud.
Which is good, because that was one of the worst aspects of that early, like, late 90s, early 2000s era of movies, was the anything that's above street level gets depicted as a giant space cloud for reasons.
Right. Shall we?
Yep, banana.
No.
What's his name then?
No! We have something he needs. As long as Venom lives, everything will end.
I mean, it does look interesting, but I said the same thing about the Venom 2 trailer. Looked more interesting than the first movie, and it kind of turned out semi-bad because they didn't let Carnage go full Carnage. So I will maintain my reservations vis-a-vis the Venom movie franchise. Especially because Sony apparently can't do anything but Venom and Miles Morales correctly. And the Miles Morales success is only due to the immaculate talents of Phil Lord and Chris Miller, which appears to be how Sony makes good things. It's not by their own efforts, it's because they usually have somebody else like Sam Raimi or Phil Lord and Chris Miller who can unstupid the stupid things that are given because they're so good at things.
Banana.
Banana.
What are we doing?
We need a disguise.
Hey, man.
Whoa.
Why do you keep knocking people out? What is wrong with you?
I'm sorry.
Oh, baby, it's a wild.
We've come a long way, you and me. But we are.
I got nothing.
Yeah, like I said, it looks okay, but I said that about the last one too, and it didn't live up to my expectations. So, nerds.
Banana.
Like, it doesn't look bad, but that could just be good trailer editing. Who knows?
Banana.
Banana.
This world can't survive if you stay together.
Oh, baby, it's a wild.
But I need him.
It's okay.
Yeah, again, nothing to really complain about here, and it even looks sort of good, but this franchise has been treading water since the first one, at least in my opinion, and it still is the only live-action Spider-Man franchise that wasn't with, the MCU's help that that Sony has been able to keep at least above water, and all the other ones have been infinitely worse. So Sony clearly has very little to no idea what they are doing at any given moment.
Specifically, Avi Arad and Amy Pascal.
Amy Pascal, yeah.
Shall we?
Banana.
Banana.
You're bad people.
There we are.
Always remember you.
There comes a time in every man's life where you have to make a sacrifice.
Eddie, I'm with you to the end.
At the very least, I hope it's a decent capstone to the trilogy. But beyond that, I don't really have a dog in this fight, symbioticed or otherwise.
I actually originally came up with it. God, this was way back when I still used my other YouTube channel, make pitches and stuff or rewrites of things. To be fair, this was an idea I'd seen someone talk about, and I was trying to fully
Flesh it out.
flesh it out. Have Alistair. Well, for one thing, Venom was already established. Like, just have it be a spin-off of, like, in a universe where a lot of adventures of Spider-Man have already happened, and Venom is now going into his Lethal Protector era, right?
So you're saying make it a spin-off of the Topher Grace Venom?
No.
Topher
Just,
Grace one is the only one other than Tom Hardy, I think, who's done Venom in live action.
No one likes Topher Grace's Venom. Not even Topher
Well,
Grace.
no, but you're saying make it in continuity with an already established Venom, and that's
No,
the only
I didn't say. No, I didn't say that. I said basically do what the DCEU thing made it in put the character in a lived-in universe, and just show his adventures happening. Stuff that has happened that made the character where we see him currently have already happened, but now we're viewing from his perspective.
So here's a follow-up question. If you want this to be a pre-established but not like canonical to any other version universe, is Peter dead in this version then?
No. Again, it's
because I think
well,
we're all
hold on. I'm sorry, but if I remember the Lethal, because again, like I said, Lethal Protector was kind of supposed to be somewhat of an inspiration for this Venom. I think he went to like San Francisco.
Right. The reason I ask is because Marvel proper and Sony are constantly having fucking divorcee custody fights over Spider-Man shit. So if we assume that Marvel and Sony will continue to be whiny little bitches about it, that means that you can't actually.
Okay, hold on. In terms of the rights, who couldn't Sony use like one of the other Spider-Men? Like
No.
Ben Reilly? No?
As far as I know, that's not an option.
Wait, they had Ben Reilly in Across the Spider-Verse, which was Sony all the way.
Which was animated. They can't do it in live action.
Really?
Yeah.
He's like a completely. I mean, okay. To be fair, he has he's closely connected in terms of Spider-Man mythos. Fair, but he is still his own wholly original character.
But you run into two problems with that. One, you have to explain who the fuck Ben Reilly is to the non-comic book audience.
Fair.
Or two, you have to do something similar to what they tried to do, which is Peter's absent or dead, and there is no Spider-Man to speak of. I like your idea of a pre-established universe. I just would take it one step further and actually make it a sequel to the Tobey Maguire ones.
Yeah, but Topher Grace died in Spider-Man 3, though.
Which, I guess, goes on to your point about, this is the Lethal Protector version. So if that version of Eddie Brock is dead, then he finds a new host. Which honestly,
it's still Eddie Brock that was the Lethal Protector. So that doesn't work.
You just said that he died, so I would have him do.
Yeah, in Spider-Man 3, but that.
Yeah, but let me finish, please.
Okay.
What I would do is probably have Flash Thompson be the Lethal Protector, because he already has the wanting to be a hero and actually idealizing Spider-Man, even though he hates Peter thing. That's what I would do, and have him be the Lethal Protector. Because if Topher Grace's Eddie Brock is dead and nobody really liked him to begin with, let's just have him be dead, have it be in the Tobey Maguire universe, have Peter be retired or dead or whatever, and then have Flash Thompson be the Lethal Protector Venom. Would be probably
to be fair, Flash only appeared like one scene in the first Spider-Man movie back in 2002.
Yeah, and honestly, you could straight up recast him, and I don't think anyone would care.
No, to
particularly.
be fair, I do think Joe. I'm gonna mess up his last name. He was set up to be Deathstroke. He's a good actor. I've seen him in like a bunch of other stuff.
Right. Wasn't he in like his 30s though, even in the first Spider-Man? Because he looked about 2 decades older than all the other students in that movie. So
Tobey Maguire was older than him
well,
when they made that
damn.
movie. So
that's interesting.
I don't think that's really. I don't really think that's a problem.
Well, no, but either way, that's how I would do it. I would kind of combine
Plus,
Agent
they
Venom and
graduate-
Lethal Protector.
Plus, in Spider-Man in 2002, they literally graduated high school and they were in college.
Okay, so yeah, but
Before
in
the
in any case, what I would do is I would combine Agent Venom with Lethal Protector, have Flash be the new host, have Eddie Brock still be dead, have Peter either retired or dead, and then just have Venom doing Venom things. Like that.
Well,
that's
the
how
antagonist.
Go ahead.
Well, the again in this original thing, because I came up with this like years ago, like when the first Venom came out back in 2018, I think. Was it 2018? I think so.
It was either 2017 or 2018. I think you're right. I think it was 2018. Because I know it was in 2019.
Right. But I would have shifted the antagonist because, let's be honest, the antagonist for the first Venom movie was nothing.
Yeah, it was a completely interchangeable corporate stooge asshole. That's all I can remember about him.
I would have had Alistair Smythe.
That would have been a good choice.
For those who don't know who that is, well, he's regarded as the Spider Slayer.
Am I the only one who would like to see Judas Traveler be used in something eventually?
I don't know who that is.
He was one of the villains of the Clone Saga. He had mental powers and possibly magic ones too, and he had some stake in the Spider canon for whatever reason. They didn't really do much with him in the Clone Saga, but he was an interesting enough villain that I'm annoyed that he never made a comeback. Although, granted, if I had my druthers, he would be a villain for somebody else. But if we're playing in the Spider-Verse, we'll play in the Spider-Verse and have him come back as a villain for the new, the newly hero or anti-heroified Venom. Just because it's the concept of the character of Judas Traveler was more interesting than anything they decided to do with him, and he's obscure enough that you could kind of fill in some of the gaps a little bit without pissing people off.
If I remember correctly, idea-wise, the concept I had was it was Alistair Smythe Jr. and Alistair Smythe, who ran Smythe Industries, who had these things called Slayer. They were supposed to be unmanned drones.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted, I can't remember who was dying. Yeah, I think it was Alistair Smythe's father, original Alistair Smythe, who was dying and wanted the Venom symbiote because, it had possibly rejuvenating properties.
Yeah, life restoring properties and yada yada yada.
Also made mention, just to build up some things, because what was that called, by the way? That company in the first movie, because it is important. Like it.
I have absolutely no recollection of that at all.
In comics wise, it's not your cup of tea. I know.
No, I know it probably was important and probably does reference a thing. I barely recollect the villain from Venom, period. And like I say, usually when I think of him, all I can call him is generic corporate stooge number 1475.
Okay, hold on. I'm looking.
So I don't remember the company name. I'm sure it was important or is, something out of the comics and stuff. And as soon as you say it, I'm probably going to go, oh shit, that company. But at the moment, my brain has basically jettisoned all information on that company from my brain.
Because it's responsible for creating having the Venom symbiote split apart to make other Venom symbiotes that basically become like a team, and others
Right.
they create certain superheroes.
Yeah, like Anti-Venom, Screech, Carnage, obviously, and so on and so on and so
No,
on.
Carnage was something else.
Right.
Yeah, just Cletus Cassidy was like a cellmate or neighbor of Eddie Brock when he was in prison, and then some Venom symbiote that got left behind when he broke out, and that mixed with Cletus's blood.
Yeah, I really hate that they didn't let Woody Harrelson go full Cletus
Psychopath.
Cassidy in the second one, because he could probably pull off a pretty convincing, like, Joker meets Hannibal Lecter style sociopath.
Okay.
But they didn't even remotely let them go and do that. So once again, Sony shoots its own project in the foot by being just sheer morons. But que sera sera. It happens.
Okay, hold on. Why is this? I don't think it was called that, but it's referred to as Ararat Corporation. I don't think it was called that in the actual movie, though.
No.
I think
it had some other name. I just don't remember what it was. Was it Roxxon Energy, maybe?
Life Foundation.
Okay, there we go.
I don't know why, but honestly, that sounds a lot better than the other one, just because I have no idea what that's supposed to be a reference to in terms of the comic version. But yeah, it's But yeah, my idea, the idea was like it was supposed to be a pre-established universe that he was in. A lot of the movies could have been better if they were set in a pre-established thing.
They could. It would also be nice if Marvel and Sony would stop being bitches and just let each other use each other's shit. But
don't get me started on Universal and the Hulk.
Like I don't understand Universal's whole thing here, because
they haven't used anything.
Look at how much money was just printable by the MCU Spider-Man movies, especially No Way Home. If you had done something similar to that with Marvel and Universal, obviously I don't think the Hulk is quite as iconic as Spider-Man, but
Disagree.
it would still probably be a license to print money, because even if we're just going off of the Eric Bana one from 2003 and the 2008 one, that's enough establishment that people would show up if the movies were decent.
Right.
And they just decided to leave it on the table to spite Disney for no reason.
I do disagree somewhat about the Hulk not being. I think the issue again is like no one's ever given the Hulk a fair share, because ironically, if you actually look into like the comics and stories, hell, even some of the other and like animated shows that have him, he's a really rich character.
Well, yeah, and I still maintain that for all the weirdness of the 2003 one, they actually did do the arc of Bruce Banner correctly. And I'm not disparaging the Hulk, by the way, by saying he's less iconic than Spider-Man. I just think that's an objective fact.
I mean, okay. I get where you're coming from on that.
Because usually the Hulk operates best in a team movie, But you know, obvious,
Um,
obviously, if they gave him more solo movies after the 2008 one, especially with Mark Ruffalo in them post Avengers, I do think they could have printed about the same amount of money as the second and third Iron Man movie, um, or how if they really hit it out of the park, they might even hit on a Civil War or a Winter Soldier
well, I
type
think also the issue.
box office.
The weird thing is the biggest issue with like the Hulk is he's a fairly dark character compared to others.
Yeah, you kind of got to go in expecting. Here is 20 pages of psychological trauma that explains why this happens.
Right, because okay, for anyone who doesn't know, Bruce Banner had a very, to say tough or rough childhood is to put it very mildly.
The word abusive springs readily to mind.
Like
He was
again,
basically his
honestly,
father's.
2000, the 2003 one, I think, really actually hit the nail on the head with
Yeah,
that one.
no, that's not the. Most of what's wrong with the 2008 one was the CGI wasn't quite up to snuff yet, and some of the creative choices were a little bit weird because, unlike today, Ang Lee tried to do that thing that he did for Crouching Tiger or Hidden Dragon and just binge watch a bunch of superhero movies, but there weren't enough superhero movies to pull from. So
Well, I also think
he pulled from the
again,
comics instead.
he was very artistic because it came because a lot of again, there's a whole video that actually explains why it's actually a lot better than most people give it credit for.
Yeah.
But
point being, the Hulk is essentially a case of trauma-induced DID, frankly.
yeah, and
Bruce Banner.
also, well, there's also like an interesting thing because I feel like a lot of people, and I'm not gonna lie, Don, you are kind of guilty of this as well. Kind of see the Hulk as just this rampaging beast, but like in my opinion, obviously, the Hulk is a very fascinating character, more so than even Bruce. Don't get me wrong, Bruce has his moments, but the Hulk himself is a individual that has more growth, more arcs that he has gone through, and just a greater experience in the world.
I think the thing I like best about Hulk is what exactly that psychological / multiple personality aspect actually means, because they've done, and of course this is my point of reference for this, they've done storylines where Doctor Strange has gone into Bruce Banner's mind, and he doesn't even just say that the Hulk and Bruce are two different personalities. He specifically refers to them as two different entities entirely, which I've always found really freaking fascinating because there's actually kind of a cool metaphysics to the Hulk in some stories.
Yeah, that's fair,
especially some recent ones.
Yeah, okay. Not going to dismiss that because actually it's pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. But ironically, when the Hulk first started, I know again, I was talking about Venom, but this kind of is just spin on a tangent and kind of keep some extra time padded out.
Yeah, we've got time, so it's whatever.
Yeah. So originally, the Hulk was basically the compounded trauma, pain, anger that Bruce Banner kind of buried his whole life.
Repressed rage. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why at first he can only transform when he gets angry, but as he and the Hulk kind of make peace with each other, he finds he can basically transform whenever he wants.
Right. There's also the thing of the Hulk kind of is what Bruce wanted to be. The protector, the hero, because the Hulk is a hero kind of to his core in some iterations. Don't get me wrong, there are some iterations that take it become full monster. But my kind of favorite one is from Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which is a really great interpretation of the Marvel universe, in my opinion.
This is a weird connection to make, but you know what a good template for actually dealing with the Hulk would have been if they did do solo movies for him?
Yeah.
The Beast from Split. it's essentially the same modus operandi. It's just, with a slightly different character because M. Night Shyamalan didn't have the Hulk IP. But
Right.
that the same logic that applies to Kevin Wendell Crumb and the Beast or the Horde also applies to the Hulk, and even the like multiple personalities within the Hulk thing is also like Bruce kind of does have his own horde because you got the stereotypical Green Hulk, and then you've got the Red Hulk, and then you've got Mr.
Grey Hulk.
Fix-It, and then
Yeah.
and then you've got the Gray one, and then you've got the the Smart Hulk that they were kind of playing with regards to
Professor Hulk. There's
yeah,
also the evil mastermind one, the Maestro. There's
and there's a version of the Hulk that's actually a demon, and this was a recent addition, but apparently
Immortal Hulk?
again, apparently again, going off of the times where I've seen Doctor Strange go into Bruce's mind and say things like, that's not even a split personality, that's a whole other entity. Well, someone recently went sort of took that to its logical conclusion, and there is now a version of the Hulk who is essentially the counterpart to the one above all. He's the one below all. Yeah. So
Breaker
there's
Hulk.
a lot that you could do with the Hulk if the MCU was allowed to play with them, and
Right,
especially in like crossover material.
There's also the thing of like. There's also the thing of the Hulk is a dark character just inherently. Again, like the whole trauma thing, and the MCU more or less. I just, if we really wanted to do a fairly comics accurate Hulk, right?
The Eric Bana one would have to be the template, I think. They'd have to essentially take the 2003 one and like mod it.
I also think the Incredible Hulk from 2008 or 9 was actually not that bad. Like, it had good scenes in it.
Right.
And it actually did, like, it showed moments where the Hulk was fairly cognizant enough to actually want to fight, just wants to be left alone.
Right.
So it's just like the Hulk is a very complex character, and that also leads to like, again, he has like an interesting rogues gallery too.
Mm-hmm.
That no one touches upon unless like we're not going to get into Brave New World because that's stupid.
Yeah, apparently the leader is a thing in freaking Captain America 4 of all fucking places.
Right. But he also has like a really interesting side cast. Rick Jones, again, to be fair, if we're doing MCU, he wouldn't have been there, mind you.
Right.
But for those who don't know who Rick Jones is, he was a kid who stumbled upon a gamma bomb testing site by accident that Bruce, was testing a new gamma bomb on. And when he made mention to Ross was okay with letting the kid die. Bruce wasn't, so he rushed out there to get the kid to safety, tossing him into a ditch so he'd be saved from the explosion. Without Rick, in the original context of the Hulk, without Rick Jones, there would be no Hulk.
And honestly, if I were the MCU and I was playing with this, I know you're going to hate me as soon as this idea leaves my mouth, but hear me out. What if instead of Rick Jones, it was Amadeus Cho, which would give Amadeus Cho a pre-established reason to be a quasi-Hulk, and thus potentially give Marvel Studios the ability to correct some of the flaws of Amadeus Cho that were in the comics and make him a better character, kind of like what they tried to do in Multiverse of Madness with America Chavez.
Well, I guess it also depends on how old the character of Amadeus Cho has existed, because if we're going back to like when the Incredible Hulk was a thing, which was back in 2008 or 9, then logically it would just
Right, but like I was going off of the assumption that assuming Universal and the MCU get assuming they were to bury the hatchet tomorrow and set a plan for like I don't know, like 2027 or something. If they were essentially going to reboot the Hulk, probably with Mark Ruffalo instead of Edward Norton, and basically start over from maybe not scratch, but a soft reboot, it would be smart of them if they want to kind of set up an eventual passing of the torch to swap out Rick for Amadeus and then fix his character. Because this is the problem with some of the stories that the MCU has been adapting. Because they chose to adapt the all new, all different Marvel, the SAW Marvel, so to speak, they actually can't stick to loyally to the comics because being loyal to those comics will result in badly written movies with terrible characters. But if they do kind of what they did with Captain America Civil War and take a pre-established storyline that had major flaws that a lot of people don't like and try to fix them by actually putting the effort in that the comics didn't originally do, you can make those characters more likable. See also, Civil War being the probably best example, but also I'm going to go so far as to say America Chavez, as she was written in the comics, was an absolutely insufferably entitled bitch. But they fixed her in Multiverse of Madness and actually made her a vulnerable, non-arrogant, and sympathetic character. And if you did that with characters like Amadeus Cho, you could essentially swap him out for Rick in this version, and it would also leave open the possibility of passing the torch once Mark Ruffalo wants to be done. Moving on. Because we have well and fucking truly gone off.
But again,
into a
it's that
side
whole thing of
tangent.
like, I still got like some. I guess one more thing.
Okay.
Again, the major issue I could see with like trying to adapt like actual Hulk stuff is
It's dark.
again, Hulk stories are often very dark,
You'd almost
like
have
darker
to
than
get,
anything we've seen.
you'd almost have to get like John Carpenter and have him do like a Cronenberg style body horror type thing, kind of similar to what the remake of The Fly did, or kind of similar to what the remake of The Thing did. That would be, you know how the MCU movies, when they're good, usually also have like subgenres in addition to being superhero movies. The template to go with the Hulk, I think, would be science fiction body horror. Kind of similar to how Werewolf by Night was an homage to the Universal monsters, except being an homage to being an homage to John Carpenter's body horror type stuff instead. Which honestly would also probably be a good like vibe to bring in with regards to the Fantastic Four as well while we're shooting the shit about this, because you can definitely go full on body horror with the Fantastic Four as well.
I really
And
gotta know.
honestly having the Thing and the Hulk have that in common would make any interactions between them really, really cool.
Well, yeah, in the comics they're like rivals.
Well, yeah, but what I mean is if they both have the like sympathetic body horror aspect to them, the tragic, monster thing to them, it would make any interactions between them really interesting. Because you can definitely do that sort of body horror with
Also,
I got irradiated by cosmic radiation.
Also, I know again we very much differ on our opinion of Ragnarok, but I fucking hate that we never get a full like Planet Hulk movie or story.
Honestly, I would have assuming Ragnarok wasn't a thing, I would have honestly kind of made the Hulk a tragic villain and then made him like a big bad for, I don't know, phase like 7 or 8 or something. Like it because imagine if at some point there is a reason to formulate the Illuminati. Let's say they went with my original like idea for phase 4 and they made the Celestials and then Galactus the villain for phases 4 and 5. If they in order to stop or thwart Galactus had to form a version of the Illuminati, and then that version of the Illuminati became skeptical of the Hulk, much as they do in the comics, and then sent him to Sakaar to keep, the world safe from him. And then the Hulk gets to be kind of the fallen hero turned villain, kind of similar to what happened with Wanda. And he would the Maestro would be a big bad for a phase.
Or no, that would be a World at War Hulk. Although I don't know if that's another persona or not.
I thought it was the Maestro who took over.
No, the Maestro is
after
like the Maestro is like a Hulk that got exposed to too much gamma radiation that he went completely insane.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. But
Yeah.
but yeah, like if we were actually adapting like a Planet Hulk and then a World War Hulk, and then you had the Hulk come back to Earth and take his vengeance on the Illuminati for jettisoning him.
Okay, so I was wrong on the World War Hulk or World Breaker Hulk are different from that. Okay, and technically he wasn't supposed to land on Sakaar. He was off course from a peaceful planet.
Right, and you can still do that, and then you can have the like tragedy of circumstances gone wrong to be another layer on that, because if he had sorry.
Okay, so for one thing, I'm sure I would hope all of us have seen the Planet Hulk anime movie that came out like a decade or so ago.
Yeah.
Great movie, by the way. One of the best. Like Marvel Animation put out at the time. I almost, I don't know. Like a part of me kind of wants to see him actually just get a happy ending where he can rule a planet peacefully by actually, because often or not he's not seen on Earth. He was never seen as a hero. Always the monster.
Right, but maybe that's the end result. If we assume that if we assume that Endgame still has the time travel plot, maybe that's how they end up defeating the World War Hulk, because they go back and make sure he actually lands on the planet he's supposed to this time, and that rewrites the timeline or something. But I like the idea of him being kind of like Wanda and being kind of a like whole arc's big bad, mostly by accident and error. Plus, it would give a lot of leeway for more character moments, because you'd of course have the Illuminati or the Avengers or however you want to slice it against the Hulk, and much like in World War Hulk, you could see how they kind of counter each other and how he tries to make things work and da 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 da. The only thing I would leave out of the World War Hulk storyline, because this leads into the worst possible Doctor Strange storyline, don't have Strange break his rules and delve into dark magic to defeat him, please. I don't want to do the stupid everyone and their dog who knows anything about magic becomes Sorcerer Supreme because it's a game of musical goddamn chairs.
Alright. Shall we finish this?
Yes. Banana.
Banana.
Oh, this is all the money that we have.
What is this feeling? It's like
This feeling?
It's like all of my problems have gone away.
I know I'm kind of ruining the joke here, but why doesn't Venom just go inside the machine and rig it from the inside? It's a liquid, or at least a gelatinous semi-solid. It could literally go in and rig the machine from the inside if it wanted to.
I don't think it thought that far. I don't think they were thinking that far ahead. And also,
Well, yes, I know, but that would have been such a cool idea for a scene of Venom goes in and loses some money and then goes inside the machine and just rigs it from the inside. That would be kind of cool.
I don't know if that's actually how it works. Those machines.
I mean, but symbiotes are supposed to be able to adapt to basically any circumstance, right? So in theory, it being a gelatinous, goo should allow it to get inside the whether the gears of the machine or the electronic components, I don't know, but it could very easily get inside the machine and essentially rig the slots to jackpot.
Hey, Don.
Mhm.
Anyone ever tell you that you just suck the fun out of everything?
Yes, in fact, you have several times, and I'm aware.
Do you really care, though?
It is not unknown to me, but I am what I am, and I will remain what I am until the end of fucking time.
So buzzkill then.
Hey, don't tell me that wouldn't be an interesting scene. If Venom goes into a fucking casino and starts rigging the slots to jackpot from inside of them. Tell me that wouldn't be an awesome scene.
I would if there wasn't already deleted scenes of Ant-Man doing that in his first movie.
Aw. I didn't know that though, actually.
You don't pay attention. You don't pay attention to movies.
Well, I also don't tend to watch deleted scenes because deleted scenes make me mad usually.
Oh yeah, no, I get you. Yeah.
Because then I'm left slapping my face against the screen, going, "Why the fuck was this left out of the movie?"
Okay, again, I can understand. There are some deleted scenes I can understand, but when you are missing a whole part of your story that makes the most fucking sense.
Yeah, when crucial parts of the story have been minimized to the point of not making any sense anymore.
Oh my god, dude, don't get me started, because I literally, a few years back, I found out there's whole characters and shit deleted from the Assassin's Creed movie from 2016 that makes things so much more fucking comprehensive and better. Give the characters fucking character.
Yeah, and I've already ranted ad nauseum about the 3 Doctor Strange scenes that should have made it into the fucking movie, and actually, there are holes in the movie without those scenes in it. I understand why the scene of Caecilius decapitating the Catholic priest isn't in the movie, because we gotta market this to Christians and shit. But well,
I say that as a Christian.
Yeah, as a general rule, I would agree with you, but I'm at least willing to concede to market pressure on that point. But the scene where Doctor Strange cures a mangy dog when he's wandering through Tibet is fundamentally necessary because it demonstrates why the Ancient One considers him worthy of wasting time on in the first place, or actually, I think in this case, it's why Mordo considers him worthy of wasting time on, because there is no such scene in the movie that we actually have. That point is completely missing, and you have to show Doctor Strange still having at least some good in him deep down, because otherwise it makes no sense why he's so motivated to be the hero that he is. And so without that dog scene in the movie, there is literally an entire series of plot threads missing from the fucking movie. Not to mention that one of the scenes they should have left in is just an extended version of a scene that already made it into the movie and would have set up Daniel Drum and therefore made Jericho Drum easy to set up later. And not to mention, but it would have also made for a better fight scene in the extended version than in the fucking cut to the bone version, and I hate it. Anyway, the long story short here is deleted scenes often make me mad because they make me ask the question, why in the fuck wasn't this in the movie? It would have taken 2 seconds. It would have like extended the movie by a few minutes at most, and it would have made the movie like orders of magnitude better. Anyway, but for the love of fuck. Unless we lost Brainstormer, which may indeed have happened. Or he might have just stepped away from the mic for a minute. Or he might have accidentally muted himself. Sorry, for some reason my brain decided the Jeopardy music was now going to be a thing for a minute. Figure out how different that or who? Okay, Brainstormer. I was reading he was sucked into cyberspace as a corollary to your Hulk comments, and I was very confused for a second because I didn't remember a storyline like that. Okay,
I've returned.
Huzzah!
Yeah, sorry, I had to disappear real quick.
No problem. I figured it must be something like that, or that there would be technical difficulties, one way or another.
All right, there's about 10 seconds left of this, so.
Banana.
You're welcome to play.
I need more money.
October 25th.
It's a shame it's not more Halloween themed coming out around then. Not sure how you would do. Well, no, I guess having Venom at like a Dia de los Muertos
It actually is
festival
in
would
Mexico.
would be interesting because I mean masks and everything, so having
No, he
Eddie.
he was in Mexico. Like in the early trailers, it actually set him up in Mexico.
Yeah, so they could very easily do like a Dia de los Muertos subplot coming out so close to Halloween.
Then it does look like he goes back to the States in Vegas or something.
Unless that's supposed to be Rio de Janeiro. I know Rio is very big on casinos too.
No, it looked like it didn't look like Rio de Janeiro. I've seen Rio de Janeiro plenty of times in film and stuff, and it looked like Las Vegas to me.
I wonder why
Um,
he's on. I wonder why he's on the road. Probably something to do with all the symbiotes that crashed to Earth.
one
Something.
second.
Okay. While we are waiting for Brainstormer to come back. We wait. Oh.
All right, I'm back. I'm back.
Huzzah. Again.
Yeah, so I had seen this about a week ago. Twilight of the Gods official trailer. Hold on, there's a description of it. It's Zack Snyder. It's a Zack Snyder movie, or a series. I'm not sure. But I saw it and it looked cool. It's on Netflix because Zack Snyder's working for doing a lot with Netflix recently, and I think this might be his second animation project.
Huh.
You know, because Guardians of the Gahul, or the what was it?
Yeah, the owl movie from like 10 years ago.
Which was actually
No.
really good, by the way.
I mostly remember that movie because a guy I had a crush on in high school really liked it.
I think you need to watch it again, man. It's actually really good. It's like Lord of the Rings.
No, it is. I just that's the main reason why it is fresh in my mind. Is because a guy I had a crush on in high school liked it.
There seems to be a lot of reasons why you got into certain things.
I mean, not as many as you would think. But then again, despite how obviously thirsty I am, I don't really fall for that many people.
I'm just saying, man.
They've got to be something quite special for me to think they're worthwhile.
You're still a thirsty ass bitch, so let's be fully honest.
I am that, yes, I am aware.
Yeah,
but
don't.
I am also a hopeless romantic, so it balances out eventually. Moving along, before I start circling the death spiral of dying alone again.
Right. I don't know if it evens out because you seem to be more thirsty than you are hopeless romantic.
No, it's they do even out. It's just that in order for me to,
I can't tell you how many times I have heard you gush over so many guys, man.
in order for me to want them in my romantic fantasies, they have to be pretty extraordinary from the get-go. And most guys don't ever even approach the threshold of being admissible to my standard.
Fair enough.
Anyway, banana.
Banana. Well, yeah, banana.
Death was close. Of that much I was sure. Then came the woman. Silence fell.
2D. I love 2D animation because it's been kind of a dead art for a while now.
Yeah, if only
Or-
Princess and the Frog had been a bigger hit.
Or I'm not sure. I feel like this is 2D animation, but it could. I think it's 2D animation. It doesn't look 3D animated, but obviously,
Right.
like,
I guess the question is whether it's cell shaded or not.
I don't think so because there's not because usually cell shaded animation has very harsher like shadows and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But this
God
is
damn it.
interesting. It looks
Hmm.
good though.
Yeah, no, it does. Like, and at the very least, like, whatever you may think of Zack Snyder, and there's a lot to be said about that,
Mhm.
he is good at aesthetics. In
Yeah.
fact, I would go so far as to say that is his main virtue as a director, is he's very, very good at aesthetics.
Mhm.
To the point where he would probably benefit the world by just being a cinematographer from now on, but I digress.
Yeah. Or at the very least, just someone will write his stuff more. Like someone.
Yeah, he needs a directorial partner. He needs somebody who can like take his ambitious vision and actually kind of actualize it more. Because that is the thing with Zack Snyder. I don't think it's necessarily that he's bad or that he's terrible or anything. I think it's just he has more of an artistic vision than his skills alone can cash. Like he shoots for the moon and frequently misses it is the problem. So he just needs to find somebody who's better at piloting the rocket, so to speak.
I would say he makes about like halfway there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's just that usually the metaphorical rocket tends to burn up on re-entry, so to speak.
All right, shall we?
Banana.
Banana.
It was beautiful.
I knew then I was home. I am to be married. Your wedding will anger the gods.
Okay, this is interesting.
I'm curious why.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the plot is yet myself.
Oh no, it's just basically a revenge story.
Okay.
But her wedding will anger the gods. I'm wondering
Yeah,
why. Specifically.
what could possibly be so blasphemous about her marriage that it would piss off the gods? One assumes we will find out eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But in any case, banana.
Banana.
I am Thor, and I want blood!
Thor butchered my family like cattle. Loki, help me kill him.
It's well you acquire a taste for blood.
Huh.
Okay, that's interesting. I assumed for some reason that they were going to go with like Mesoamerican gods instead of like Norse ones, but
Why?
okay.
Wait, why did you assume Mesoamerican? It was clearly they were Vikings and shit.
I don't know. I guess the one girl's voice sounded more like Spanish
Stop.
than it did Norse to me, but
Okay,
it
people, or I'll be honest, it sounded more Celtic. But also, anyone out there that tries to call Dalton a racist, I am Mexican. He sort of has a pass on that. I do think he was kind of stupid for that, to be fair. But no, he has a pass, so shut the fuck up.
lol. Anyway, but
I'm not gonna let you live this down that you mistook all of this for Mesoamerican shit.
I'm sorry, I'm still trying to get used to the aesthetic. I haven't even looked at what they are culturally yet, quite really. Anyway, but
But I am curious. I do want to bring up. It's interesting that Loki somewhat seen. They're portraying Loki here. I mean, hold on.
they're actually having Thor, it seems, be the villain.
Yeah.
In this piece.
Though, I mean, to be fair, the Norse gods are some of the most, from what I understand from a lot of the mythology I've read or watched or whatever, they're actually some of the most complicated gods, to my knowledge. I could be wrong.
Yeah, there really isn't a demarcation of good and evil in the Norse pantheon.
Yeah.
Like Odin can be a shape-shifting trickster just as much as Loki can sometimes, or if not more. And Loki actually, in some circumstances, is viewed as a god of oaths because though he is apparently more fixated on the letter of his word rather than the spirit of it most of the time, he is known to be bound to his word. And one of the interesting subplots in one of the Norse myths is that Odin and Loki are actually blood brothers by, well, no, not biological brothers. They're blood brothers.
I know that. I was
by
gonna.
bond. Yeah.
The only way I know that is from Sandman.
Yeah, but in one of the myths, Loki swore an oath to never drink anything offered to him unless Odin was also offered a drink first. Yeah. There's actually a really good video by Ocean Caltoy that explores the subtext of Loki as a god of oaths.
It's interesting that they made him kind of
demonized.
It's interesting they made him kind of elfish looking.
Which, I mean, he is half Aesir and half Jotun, so that does kind of make sense.
Oh, is that actual? That's actual mythology?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's half Jotun, although
I do find it weird he has white hair because if I remember depictions, actual art I've seen of Loki, he's a redhead, isn't he?
No, that's Thor.
Oh. I could have sworn.
Loki's hair might be depicted as white here because his mother, Laufey, and yeah, Laufey was female in actual Norse mythology. His mother Laufey
so God
was
of okay, so God of War actually got that right then. Okay.
Yeah. Laufey was one of the frost giants, so the white hair might be a nod to that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, banana.
Give me one. Yeah. Okay. Banana.
A taste for blood. Gather fighters.
Seek those with hell in their heart.
It's revenge I need. If I'm to succeed, I need you with me.
I'll piss and we can go, yeah?
I mean, this does look interesting. It reminds me a lot of the animated Sinbad movie.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm also
with Eris as the villain.
Yeah. Which isn't bad inspiration, to be fair.
No, it's in good company, and honestly, seeing the Norse pantheon in that kind of Sinbad lens is really cool. Because one thing I will give to that Sinbad movie, it might be otherwise kind of generic, but the way they depicted the gods in that, particularly Eris, is fucking brilliant. Anyway, banana.
Sorry, I was trying to think of anything else to say, but no.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a simple story, but the way you go about it, specifically in this context, in the lens and adventure, it's
And
obviously just a basic revenge story, but it seems so grand and epic.
right, because presumably there's going to be a lot of Norse mythology woven in and out of this.
Also,
And
I don't.
unironically, I think this might be the best Zack Snyder thing I've ever seen, just judging
Yeah.
by the trailer.
Also, thank God I had the captions on because when it said "have hell in your hearts," it was spelled with
Yeah,
only one L.
one L. Yeah.
So it makes me curious if they're talking about the goddess or like the actual place.
Well, in Norse mythology, they're both kind of interchangeable. It's kind of like how Hades can refer to the being or can refer to the place in Greek mythology.
I was assuming it was just referred to as the underworld.
Well, in the latter parts of the Greco-Roman period, they were frequently referred to by the same name. Hades was as much the realm as it was the person.
Okay.
In fact, most of the time in Greco-Roman period, they gave Hades a bunch of secondary names because nobody wanted to actually say his name out loud because it might risk death. Anyway, banana.
I know.
The maid is mine! The only thing here for you is death.
Then let it claim me!
Gods killing gods would go unnoticed. But a mortal? That would remake the world.
Okay, so the title is making sense now. If she's going on her, God Butcher arc, so to speak, then yeah, the title makes sense now.
These characters feel like people, right?
Right. Like I said, I think this might be the best Zack Snyder thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. Normally, I don't really care much for the characters of Zack Snyder's movies.
I don't know if this is based on a pre-established IP or not. I know there have been other things called the Twilight of the Gods, but usually it's like poetic metaphor, and it's not any one particular story to the best of my recollection.
Also, Valkyrie look interesting here.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if any of them will get. I wonder if any of them will get name dropped or not. Banana.
I no God.
September 19th. Oh, so it's already out.
Oh, neat. We'll have to watch that later, I think.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
Mm-hmm. Next.
Hold on, next 1 sec.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is something Dolan is extremely happy to talk about. Well, actually, I'm not too sure. But the date announcement for Season 2 of Castlevania Nocturne.
Season 1 was... They were trying, but it didn't even remotely come close to the original series. I'm hoping that it gets better as season 2 goes on and so forth.
Well, good elements, right?
Yeah, there were good elements, and it's not like it was a complete fall off a cliff. But like, for example, framing those responsible for the reign of terror in France as the good guys because oppression smacked of modern day writing really, really hard. It was one of the things that makes Castlevania special is it takes place during a time period, but it also like used the philosophies and the like frameworks of that time period as a basis for a lot of its stuff because Warren Ellis is apparently a really big fan of Hermeticism. I don't know if he's a practitioner or not, but he likes to weave Hermeticism into a lot of the stuff he makes. And that's what made Castlevania really, really interesting, because there was no modern political quote-unquote element. It was a exploration of the kinds of like Neoplatonic and Hermetic philosophies they had around like the late 1400s and early 1500s, the early modern period.
I thought Warren Ellis was also a humanist.
Yeah, but that's an early Renaissance philosophy in the sense that he uses it. But as a result of that, there was very little to no modern politicizing about Castlevania, the original show. In the sequel show, however, you could tell some Antifa sympathetic twat got involved, because they tried to frame the revolutionaries in the French Revolution, i.e. the ones responsible for the Reign of Terror, as the good guys. And all of the no on that front. And so much of the dialogue of Castlevania Nocturne was modern politicization, as opposed to the more worldly philosophizing and more in-depth philosophizing of Warren Ellis. That being said, if you don't if you can get yourself to not pay attention to the obvious Antifa sympathies that this implies on the writer's behalf, most everything else was okay. And
the that one vampire, what was his name?
Olrox. Yeah, the one that can become like a feathered serpent. Yeah.
Well, he was a Mesoamerican who's turned into a vampire, which I find super fascinating. I would love to hear more of that story.
Yeah, and speaking of interesting ideas that the Castlevania Nocturne show was like playing off of, funny story. Like, me and Brainstormer in our universe, the Lionhearted, essentially have basically every variety of vampire does exist. And one of those varieties of vampire that we were working on was an all-female sect of vampires who worship the goddess Sekhmet. And no sooner had we literally gotten done with our brainstorming session for the day, I go and I watch Castlevania Nocturne. And in the latter two episodes of Castlevania Nocturne, it was revealed that the Countess, who was the main villain of Castlevania Nocturne Season 1, was actually a high priestess of Sekhmet. And I remember messaging Brainstormer, like, as I was watching it, like, holy fucking coincidental synergy, Batman, kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. And, like, I was surprised as hell, too, like, hearing that.
It's such an interestingly obscure poll, and to have them have pulled it is just really interesting. Especially because there's no such character in the Castlevania IP. Like, usually the various different Castlevania generations involve someone somehow resurrecting Dracula. But I'm guessing that between Warren Ellis's departure and the happy ending he gave to Vlad and Lisa at the end of the original Castlevania show, they couldn't find a way to make Dracula's revival work as a basis for a villain arc anymore, because he's been given the happy ending with Lisa, so there's no reason for him to be a constantly bitter, constantly spurned former lover like thing. I don't know if they will ever bring him back for like Simon's era or whatnot, like Simon Belmont's era, but so far it seems like they're letting the happy ending that Castlevania original show had stand so far.
Yeah.
Anyway. Blood Nana or Blood Orange. Blood Orange.
I could use some help, Richter.
Samir, does Alucard sound... I mean, his voice sounds a bit raspier, right?
It might be you, because I don't hear it really.
Well, I was gonna say, it's subtle, but I think it's kind of indicate that he's a little older now. Obviously, a few centuries gone by since.
I'm not sure if it's his age or just his like mood. Maybe he's gotten a little bit like cynical or sad over the centuries.
He was always cynical and sad.
More so in season 3 than anywhere else, though, to be fair. Because that was the I am literally losing my mind arc for Al there.
Right.
Anyway. Blood Orange.
No.
You're a Belmont, after all.
It's gonna be interesting to see Richter play off Alucard and Alucard play off Richter.
I do feel like Alucard's going to be more of like a kind of wise mentor. I don't know if he's
the mentor figure.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be as wisecracking as he was with like Trevor, because I think relatively they were. No, Alucard was like, if I remember correctly, he was roughly in his late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
I don't know how old Trevor was.
I think like mid-20s, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. But go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I don't know if he's gonna be as like he's gonna be. I do think they're gonna be able to bounce off each other, obviously. But
I feel like what's gonna happen is he's gonna be very exacerbated by the younger Belmont's antics, like you bastard, you Belmont men are all the same. Every time I try to help, you just annoy me and frustrate me, and like I can see him just kind of like throwing his hands up and being like, why do I even bother with these bastarding Belmonts?
That was the worst impression ever.
I am sorry, I can't do his voice. His voice is too cool to be replicated by mine.
Still terrible, man. Like it's wow.
Shush.
I mean, visuals are obviously going to just be on point always.
Yeah, because well, anyone stupid enough to try to counter the beauty standards of the animation is probably going to be fired on the spot. Because
also,
I don't care how woke you are. If you fuck around with this show's aesthetics, I'm going to find you. And you will burn forever. What happened? Are you there?
Hello?
Okay, now he's back. Okay.
Yeah, it started cutting out for me on my end, so
Okay, so
I
it might
think
be
we're good. I think we're good for now.
Okay. Anyway, Blood Orange.
No, it's just like you cut off mid sentence as you were mentioning. Like, doesn't matter if you're SJW, if you
Yeah.
and
If you mess around with this show's aesthetics, I will find you and you will burn or freeze, as the case may be. Probably freeze because, winter. But yeah,
I mean, aren't there like cold? Aren't there like fires that freeze?
No. That's sort of counterintuitive. Where on earth did you get that?
I am fairly. There is something out there I know that burns, but is cold.
I can't think of it myself, so I'm very confused. I know there was a cold star on an episode of Doctor Who once, but I'm pretty sure they don't actually exist.
I mean, maybe liquid nitrogen?
I mean, you can get something analogous to burns from liquid nitrogen, but it's closer to frostbite than it is actual, combustion.
I feel like it's technically what I mean, though.
I think you might be thinking of freezer burn, but that's just the ice crystals that form in something that's been deeply frozen too quickly, essentially rupturing the cells in it and ruining whatever it touches.
I feel like you would do that, actually. I feel like that would be closer to what you actually meant or intend to do.
Yeah, that's because I get cagey about ever mentioning fire when I threaten things or just jokingly mention things because fire is definitely not my element. I am of winter, so I need to get used to threatening people with ice.
You're of winter. Really, I didn't know that. It's not like you mention it almost every time we hang out.
It's freaking part of my. It's probably at least implicitly part of my contract. God damn it! I have to essentially act as Mab's hype man whenever it comes up. So.
I mean, fair enough. I'm just saying, like, I think anyone who really knows you knows you're of winter, despite you being born in the summer. So that technically makes you a summer child.
Which I have always the only good thing about summer, pretty much, is my birthday being in it. I have always disliked summer ever since I was a kid.
Well, you're a traitor to your
although I have both been severely sunburned and almost frozen to death, so even in the score of I have been damaged by both seasons, I still prefer winter.
Anyway, shall we?
Yeah. Blood Orange.
January 2025.
That's surprisingly long, although I guess it is only just over 3 months.
4.
I mean, assuming it comes out at the end of January, but I assumed it would be closer to the 1st of January. So that's why I
We're
was
still
saying
in September. I'm gonna count. We're still in
yeah,
September.
but there's barely a week left of September though. So that's why I say just over a month, or over 3 months rather, because it's a lot closer to 3 months than it is to 4. unless it literally like comes out on January 30th, I guess. Which maybe, but like I sort of doubt it. Probably come out nearer to the middle of January, if anything.
All right.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, continuing on.
Wild Robot, final trailer.
This movie looks freaking amazing, and it looks even more amazing the more we see of it. So I hope this movie makes all of the fucking money. All of it.
It's just a genuinely heartwarming, nice, fun movie.
And honestly, it has a quality that is so rare nowadays, and that's that it's timeless. It actually feels like something that we will look back on in 30, 40, 50 years and actually still have a fondness for.
Mm-hmm.
But, Banana.
Banana?
From the studio that brought you How to Train Your Dragon and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish comes the greatest DreamWorks movie ever. The Wild Robot is the best animated movie of the year.
I mean, you're going to have a really hard time being as iconic as The Last Wish was, but given what we've seen of this movie, I think they might actually be able to manage it.
Well, they said of the year, and Puss in Boots came out last year.
Yeah. So yeah.
Given the fact that there haven't been really many, there haven't really been many. I mean, I think that's.
I think the last animated movie was Wish, wasn't it?
This year?
I thought so.
Hold on. Okay, that's gonna bug me because I mean, to be fair, there haven't been a lot of movies that come out that have caught my attention this year.
Right. Wait, no. Transformers is the most recent animated movie for this year.
Okay, Transformers 1, yeah. Which I'm gonna be fully honest. I've been seeing clips of that and also hearing a lot of things about that. I think the trailer kind of just fucked it over, to be fair. Okay.
Because I know it technically comes out either this weekend or next weekend. I don't remember.
I thought it already came out.
Like I say, I think it came out this weekend, but it might come out next weekend. I don't remember.
Hold on.
I'm pretty sure it came out yesterday.
Yeah, September 20th, 2024 was the release date.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at I'm looking at the anime movies that came out so far. I don't know if counts.
I wouldn't, because that's a mix of live action and CGI.
Okay, then the Garfield movie, Inside Out 2.
Okay, so yeah, I was way off. I completely forgot those two were a thing.
Kung Fu Panda 4.
I know there was a Despicable Me movie like a month or so ago.
Yeah, Despicable Me 4. There's some other stuff, but most have either come out on streaming like Ultraman Rising or on DVD like Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Mm-hmm. But like theatrically released blockbuster animation, it's been a bit late.
Garfield, Transformers, Inside Out, Kung Fu Panda, I think, came out in theaters.
Yeah, Kung Fu Panda 4 was in theaters.
Right. Well, the rest are kind of either independent stuff, might be TV movies.
Because I mean,
yeah, like
Twilight of the Gods
Netflix.
is on Netflix, so that I guess kind of counts.
Anyway,
Unless, yeah, I guess that's closer to like direct to video. Anyway, banana.
And one of the best movies, period.
Do you need assistance?
The mother robot is giving me like Baymax vibes. I feel like they could be siblings.
Yeah, I feel like also maybe Little Iron Giant a little bit.
Mm-hmm. It's what would happen if like Baymax and the Iron Giant, or actually no, better analogy. If Baymax and Eve from WALL-E had a baby, the mother robot would be that baby grown up.
Yeah, I see that. All right, shall we?
Banana.
Banana.
I do not have the programming to be a mother.
They all need to eat, but yours needs to swim and fly.
He's a runt. His chances aren't super good.
I'm getting like a little tingling in my heart.
Yeah, the wholesomeness is definitely a thing here.
Yeah.
And again, timelessness. I had almost lost hope in like the idea of there being any more timeless movies, but here we be.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully this makes all the money.
Yeah. Shall we?
Yep, banana.
Banana.
I will protect him.
Find that inside you.
You'll work on that.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah, this is going to be one we'll be telling our kids about if we have them, I think. I honestly don't remember the last time an animated movie was this well done and timeless. Like, I know there have been movies in like this kind of timeless style. The closest thing I can analogize it as is like the Paddington movies, but those aren't animated for the most part.
I've never watched those, I'll be fully honest.
I think you would like them. They have a lot of heart in them. A lot.
I've heard good things about them. I'm just never sure. I don't think I've just ever been able to like sit down and watch them.
Mm. Well, like I say, if you ever get the chance to, take it, because both of them are really good, actually.
I thought there were 3.
Not yet.
Oh.
All right. The director Paul King, who did the Paddington movies, took a break to do Wonka, which is also pretty good, actually. But anyway, banana.
Ready?
I could use a boost.
You are ordered to return home.
Are those your parents?
September 27th is when it's supposed to come out.
Okay, so literally like next week.
6 days. Yeah. Shall we?
Yep. Banana.
no.
I am already home. Sometimes, to survive,
I think this
we
might
must
honestly
become more
be.
than we were programmed to be.
I think this might honestly be DreamWorks' most beautiful movie. Full stop. Because usually their animation is done in a much more cartoony style, but this is giving Miyazaki a run for its money, except it's 3D instead of 2D.
I mean, it still has that cartoony style, but I get what you mean, though.
But yeah,
It's a lot more colorful and a lot more. I honestly want to say more creative in terms of like the coloring and the style. Like it's more. What's the word I'm looking for? Dynamic in showing.
Yeah, like again, some of the backgrounds especially do like give me Miyazaki vibes. If
like
Miyazaki ever made something in 3D instead of 2.
Yeah. Because like How to Train Your Dragon, while the characters were very cartoonish, everything was like very like the backgrounds, like the world itself was very photorealistic.
Yeah.
With
this I think has a lot more like style to it.
Yeah, style. That was the word. That was the word I was looking for.
Yeah. And it really is giving like classical, like picturesque beauty vibes.
Like those matte paints they used to do way back
when.
Yeah.
Except it's done in 3D, which is honestly really impressive. Which honestly, something like this is what Wish should have looked like, instead of the ass that it ended up being.
There's actually like a fan rewrite project that's actually doing like a whole revision of Wish. It's called Alicia and the Star Kingdom. It's on YouTube.
Neat.
Yeah, they're actually doing like full on like musicals that have animatics and shit. That's really cool, and they're using a lot of the ideas that were scrapped for originally for Wish.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that they should have honestly stuck with some of those original ideas. Like
Evil Couple.
Like some things can still be good even if they are development held to Heckenback. Like Emperor's New Groove was originally going to be a much more serious movie called Kingdom of the Sun. It was going to be much more in the style of like the Disney Renaissance type vibe. And Yzma was actually going to be trying to put out the sun and gain eternal youth. Which, don't get me wrong, I love the Emperor's New Groove that we got, but that sounds freaking awesome, and I'm sad that the only thing that really remains of Kingdom of the Sun is behind the scenes stuff. But even so, Emperor's New Groove turned out to be a good movie, a really, really good movie, even though it was shot to development hell and back. Which, however, is exactly why you don't want to leave a movie in development hell for too long.
Yeah, but I would recommend people check out, again, on YouTube, Alicia and the Star Kingdom. They have like the first 25 minutes, because I think they're actually trying to do like a full movie. Full 25 minutes of work in progress animatics that even has like a musical number in it.
And it's sad that what you're describing sounds much more like an homage to Disney's actual legacy than what we got with Wish.
Yeah. But yeah, like come on, a villain couple as like the bad guys.
Yeah, that would have been really cool. It also would have been helpful if Magnifico was actually like in the wrong and stuff, because the biggest problem of Wish writing wise is that Magnifico basically unironically did nothing wrong except for maybe playing around with dark magic. Like but but he only did that after Asha had been a complete and utter nuisance. So, like, as written, prior to Asha's meddling, King Magnifico had done nothing wrong. He was the hero of that story.
Okay. Anyway, shall we? We got 20 seconds left, so.
Yeah. Banana.
Banana.
I am a wild robot.
This is so fucking beautiful. I can't wait to watch it, honestly.
You gonna pirate it first, or are you actually gonna go see it?
I don't have anyone to go see movies with, because my one friend, the blonde guy you've probably seen in pictures before, he moved like several hours away, so we can't chill and go see movies anymore. And no one else in my household really likes the same kind of movies I like. So it would be cruel to make them sit through the shit that I like just because I want to see it.
Fair enough.
If we were more geographically convenient, we could solve that problem, but you're
fair.
over in Indiana, I'm in PA, so it happens.
Yeah, it looks like a good movie, man. Like, again, it's been a while. Like, I'm not gonna say
It looks both iconic and timeless. So
yeah, I'm not gonna say there haven't been good animated movies in the last few years, because there have been. I'm not gonna deny that.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is definitely a good example of that.
Puss in Boots, not Push. Across the Spider-Verse, or the Spider-Verse movies. There's been some others, but I guess the thing is
they've been very few and far between.
Yeah, no, and there's also like this kind of thing of like, I don't get me wrong, I enjoy those movies. I do. I love them, but how do I say this? They're the kind of movies. This one, I'm gonna be fully honest, feels more cult classic to me. Like, I'm gonna be fully honest, not to be cynical. It's not me being cynical. It's just understanding that, because I've not heard much talk about this movie.
It's gonna wind up somewhere in the vicinity of like Iron Giant, Atlantis: The Lost Empire, and Treasure Planet. Probably. I get where you're going with that.
Unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong. I really do.
I honestly think this one might have a good chance, just because the internet exists now, and that can be a very quick way of getting the word out on a movie being awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, when Puss and Boots, fucking S's, when the second Puss in Boots movie came out, it had a very small niche opening, but it had like ridiculously small drops from week to week because the word of mouth was so good. I think there might be something like that for this, except I think there might be at least a little bit of hype going into this, because it looked like, no disrespect to Puss and Boots: The Last Wish, but it looked like a generic movie as far as the trailers went. Whereas this is, again, in the same kind of ballpark as Iron Giant, or a Miyazaki movie, or Treasure Planet, or Atlantis, to where I think there's enough people who grew up on those cult classic movies who now have access to the internet. This movie might end up making bank.
But what
if
I was
it does, so much the better.
Hold on. What I was trying to say was, more so with the others, because I kind of got into Last Wish a little bit late.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always like this kind of like giant circle that kind of turned me off to those movies a bit. You know, like I kind of reject them simply because I don't want to join.
Don't want to get hyped.
Yeah. But with this, because again, I haven't heard many people talk about this movie at all. I am genuinely excited about this one.
Yeah, like I say, I want this to make all the money because it deserves to make again, if it's anything close to what is being presented in any of the trailers, if that movie is analogous to those trailers, I can't see a situation where it doesn't deserve to
Yeah, that's also like
to
something
win
I
an
wanna point out.
Oscar.
Also something to point out. No, okay, no, it's not going to win an Oscar. Let's be fully honest, because the people who judge the Oscars are complete and utter fucking morons that are complete like the
Yeah, posh old guard cunts who wouldn't know quality if it bit them on the ass.
yeah. But something I want to point out was in other trailers we have watched, like I guess the other one that would be for roughly for comparison is Transformers 1. When we watched those trailers, the first trailer was shit. Let's be, it did not
A
hype us.
series of bad trailers, yeah.
No, but the second one was actually a far better one. It actually set a tone much better.
Yeah. Even then, though, I wouldn't say that any of those trailers wowed me. Whereas with
Don,
this,
Don, let's be honest, Transformers is not your wheelhouse.
which, I mean, fair, but they could have probably won me over if they had done it right. But anyway, with this though, pretty much every single trailer has been fucking immaculate gold.
Yeah, like that's what I was leading. That's what I was leaning into. Is like it's genuinely surprising to me that, from what I can recollect of all the trailers we've watched, which we've only really covered this for the last month and a half.
Right.
That's when trailers were starting to come out.
Right.
It's genuinely surprising on how well made and well crafted the trailers were, that they genuinely built up a lot of hype.
Which either means that whoever made these trailers deserves a raise, or it means that this movie simply doesn't have a bad angle. Because I haven't seen a bad angle of this movie the entire time.
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like both are valid.
Yeah, but both are probably warranted because the person who made this trailer knew what the fuck they were doing as well. But like, there are cases where a trailer looks really good and the movie ends up being shite.
Oh yeah.
But in this case, I think the reason why none of the trailers seem to have had a bad angle might just be because the movie is that good, that flawless, that timeless, that wholesome, where it's like there simply is not a bad angle for this movie. And if that is the case, then I hope that all of the hype machines of all of the internet fucking rally around this movie and make it make all the money. Because if it's close to any of the trailers we've gotten for it, this movie deserves to get all of the accolades, all of the praise, and all of the cash it can. Hopefully, it will encourage DreamWorks to make more movies like this. Because the last time I felt this way about a movie, it's a completely different type of feeling or a completely different type of movie. But I am definitely on the team that says I wish Megamind had come out before Despicable Me did, because Megamind was the much better movie and the much better franchise could have been made from it. I don't want that to happen with this movie and Despicable Me 4 or whatever the fuck we're on now.
No, that already came out, right? So
right, but my point is that I don't want some other more like cartoony DreamWorks movie to steal this movie's thunder, because this is a direction that honestly Disney should have made this movie.
Wait, hold on. Don't. DreamWorks didn't make Despicable Me.
It was under their umbrella when it was originally made because Illumination owned, or DreamWorks owned Illumination at the time. Illumination keeps changing hands. But point being, this is the kind of movie that I wish Disney was making, because that's the kind of movie that I grew up with Disney making. Movies like Atlantis: The Lost Empire, movies like Treasure Planet, movies like Brother Bear, like those were the kind of movies that I grew up on. And it appears to be the kind of movie that Disney is utterly incapable of making now for some reason. So, by all means, DreamWorks, if Disney isn't going to provide us the timeless classics that we've grown accustomed to them for, please feel free to fill in that gap. Because between this and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, you're really starting to maybe steal some of Disney's thunder. And maybe if you steal enough of their thunder, they will start fucking cleaning house and figuring out what the fuck went wrong in their company. Because someone needs to learn the lesson of, if you give the audience things that they want to see and are excited to see and are engaged to see, you will succeed. If you spite your audience or go out of your way to make things that they hate, then your bottom line will be affected accordingly. Moving on.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess with that, with that, folks, I want to say goodbye, adios, aloha, avidazai, sayonara, peace, cheers, and
shalom and fuck off. We will see you in one more September episode, I think.